Thank you all for joining us today here in person, and those that are visiting us via the live webcam presentation. My name is Scott McKenzie. I'm currently serving as the president of the Alberta chapter of the PPPC, and just again want to welcome you all for joining us here. We're excited to be joined by Mr. Chris Hamilton, who's going to present our Lunch and Learn today. Chris is a sales and marketing veteran with over 25 years of experience. His background includes working for various companies, all the way from small startup companies to Fortune 500. One thing that was consistent in Chris's background was the fact that any company he was working for basically started from zero and had to ramp up to sales quite quickly. In order to help these companies do this, he had to deploy many sales and marketing tactics that he developed along the way. Over the past few years, Chris started a sales and marketing consultancy and has been working with numerous small and medium-sized businesses to help understand where they want to be and how they want to get there. Part of the processes is leveraging many online tools in unique ways as to give these companies a competitive advantage. Chris uses all of the tactics he deploys with his clients, and in fact, while leveraging social media, he has caught the attention of 11-time best-selling sales and marketing author Jeffrey Gitmer, who has asked him to contribute to his #1 best-selling book on social media, Social Boom. Chris writes a daily sales and marketing blog that is in the top 1% of all websites in the world, works with numerous business and interviewing some of the world's best sales and marketing authors on his online show, Biz Dev Weekly, co-hosted with Kirsten Kloss. Chris also enjoys spending time with his family, which includes his wife, his 3 children, and visiting his homes in Seattle and in Scottsdale, Arizona. May you just help me welcoming in Chris Hamilton this afternoon.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate that. Yeah, you can take that over if you can take that over. Thank you very much. I first off appreciate all of you showing up, and also the PPPC for allowing me to speak to all of you. Before I get going, I'll get into this. There's a lot of information I'm going to kind of unleash on you guys today. And the nice thing is, because we do have the cameras and we're recording, all this information will be available for you. So don't think that you have to write things down. Within the next 24 hours to 48 hours, we'll have it up, and I'll give you a link where you can actually access all this information. So just kind of sit back, enjoy your food. The other thing too is if you have questions, we're going to try to hold off till the end so that you'll be able to ask them then, because there is a lot of information that we have to go through. So first things I want to talk about before we get started here, by the way, is how many people are currently using social media as part of their process. So we've got kind of, some yes, some no, kind of half and half type thing. What I'm going to go into today is very high level on social media, and I'm going to go into literally about 4 or 5 different social media tools and give you guys some tactics that will get you started out the door and start drawing people towards you. The other thing I thought I'd show you is some just marketing things that you could do on your website. Anyone here own their own company? Okay. Do you have a website? Yes. Yeah? Okay. So that part will hopefully be useful for you guys. I'm going to show you ways, tips and tricks and tools that you can use to generate sales leads right off your website as well. So that hopefully that'll generate some activity for you as well. First thing, what is this presentation about? So obviously you can read, but what I'm going to try to give you just enough knowledge to get you started on social media. Those of you who have actually used social media before, I mean, some of this stuff may be old hat for you. I am going to teach you lots of tips and tricks that you can use to deploy to promote yourself, your company, and your products as well. So that's part of it. So who am I? I'm not a grandpa, by the way. That may look like it, even though I'm not. That's my 1-year-old. So as Scott alluded to, I am 25 years in sales and marketing. I have gone from, I usually start with a Fortune 500, I'll get sick of working there, and I go down to a startup, and I get sick working there doing all the work, and I go back to a Fortune 500. So I did all this till I was in my early 40s, and I finally realized that I was basically unemployable because I didn't like anyone telling me what to do. So I started up my own company. As part of that, though, is about 2 or 3 years before I started my own company, I used to have a whole bunch of business owners come to me saying, how do you do this? What do you do? What's all this tactics and stuff that you use? And so I worked with several companies just kind of showing them what to do. And obviously not being the sharpest knife in the door, I finally realized after about 3 years, it's like, hey, wait a sec, these guys might actually pay me for this stuff. So I decided I'd actually start my own consultancy. So that's what I do today. I actually work with numerous companies. I work with my partner here, Kirsten Kloss. We have a company called New Lucid. What we do is we work with companies talking about online, offline tactics that they can use to actually generate more sales leads through marketing. As Scott alluded to, I do have a blog that's it's actually in the 0.1% of all websites of the world, and it's super simple to get there. I'll teach you guys actually tactics to get to that kind of traffic that you can get on your websites as well. I do interview some of the world's best authors. As you had taught to, I was a contributing author to a #1 bestseller. It's totally stumbled into that, but I'm going to show you guys how I ended up getting an 11-time best-selling author to actually contact me. And blatant plug at the bottom, I think I'm a great guy. So I may be wrong on that, but I do think I am a great guy. The agenda today, we're going to go into what is social media. I'm going to show you guys how to use social media. I'm going to go into what I call the five heavyweights. Truthfully, there's just a handful of social media tools that you should use. And by the way, social media my take on it is, it's not marketing, it's a tool. It's what you do with that tool that actually transforms it into a marketing process as well. I'm going to go into 5 things that you need on your website right now. So anyone who actually has a website or is close to a website or could get access to a website, these are all designed to generate sales leads. And as I say, I'm going to show you how I got into a #1 bestseller. Hopefully I can impart enough wisdom on you guys so you can end up in a #1 bestseller as well. So the objectives, you know what? Unfortunately, when I was creating these slides, I did it in a Keynote, which is a program on a Mac, and then you have to convert it to PowerPoint. And I didn't realize it was going to end up looking so bad. But here's my objectives. I'll explain it to you. I'm going to show you different social media tactics that you can do to generate sales leads. I'm going to show you the one social media tool that generates 82% of all sales leads online. So literally there is one tool out of that handful that generates the vast majority of the sales leads. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you how to deploy it properly and actually generate sales leads as well. I'm going to show you how to tie a lot of this stuff together so it's not so time consuming as well. I'm going to show you a platform that you can leverage that acts as a sales hub for you guys as well. And interestingly enough, how many people cold call here? Oh yeah, you like it? No, eh? Most people don't. I saw someone shaking their head. Yes, we'll have therapy for you later. The whole idea behind it though is I'm going to show you a tool that kind of takes some of that cold call out of cold calling, and I'm going to show you the 5 must-haves. So those were the objectives that I put forth to the PPPC when I said that I'd give this speech. So I'm going to show you guys how we can accomplish all of that stuff as well. So as I say, one of the main things that you're going to find today is you're going to feel like you're drinking from the fire hose. Whenever I give speeches, a lot of people say my head hurts afterwards because you've given me so much information. That's why we record these, so that you guys can go back and consume it on your own time and understand exactly what it is. So just bear with me. If I give you a headache, I do have some aspirins back here that I can give you so that you guys can hopefully get rid of that headache as well. So what is social media? So it's the big question mark, and I thought we'd turn to Wikipedia and say, what is it? Well, social media refers to the means of interacting among people in which they create, share, and exchange information and ideas in virtual communities and networks. And as I say to that one, it's like, huh, what's that mean? I have no idea what that means. What I tell people though is, literally what it is, hey, I found something cool, I want to show you, right? So what it is people are going by, finding interesting things online, and everyone has this neat little network of people that they're with. Or it could be work people, it could be personal friends, it could be family, it could be anything like that. When you're online, people go and get either for entertainment or education, or hopefully both at the same time. So that's where I feel social media really does come in. It helps a lot of people. By the way, I don't wear my pants like that at all. My kids would kill me if I did something like that. But the other thing too is you have to look at it. It's right in the term. It's social at its media, right? So what happens is, I have seen so many companies, Kirsten and I come across a lot of companies where they think you just put something up like Facebook, or you go on LinkedIn, or you do this or you do that, and it's just the floodgates open and people just start rushing in towards you and stuff like that. Anyone who's actually engaged on social media realizes that's not the case. You actually have to put effort into it. It has to be a social interaction. And once again, it's the media. It's the way that you converse with people through Facebook, through Twitter, through LinkedIn, or anything like that. It takes effort and there is time involved in it, but it doesn't have to be a whole lot of time, I'll tell you that much. It's one of those things. I'll give you an explanation. I spend 10 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes a day. That's it. That's my, and I'll teach you my secret later on, but it's really not that tough. And I have, let's see here, on my Twitter accounts, over 70,000 followers. And I engage with some of them here and there and stuff like that. But it's only 10, 15 minutes a day. And it's when I wake up in the morning before my kids get up, I just jump on and I just start doing some of this stuff. And if you can actually devote 15 minutes a day, you can actually make this work for you. So it's very easy to do. If I can do it, I'll tell you what, like I have ADD, so seriously, I cannot devote more than about 15 minutes to something like that, or else I start going squirrely. So that's why I put about 15 minutes aside each morning. So does anyone know the rules of social media? I got 4, but there's a whole bunch, I think. And it's kind of an oxymoron. Number 1 is, there are no rules. Well, wait a sec, there's actually 3 rules after there are no rules on this one. I say the secret to social media is using it the way that it works best for you. And one of the things that really aggravates me is when I see a lot of guys out there that say they're professionals, and by no means do I consider myself a professional. I consider myself a lifelong student in this sort of stuff. I'm always learning and everything. But when I see experts saying, you can only do this or you can only do that, and it's like, I look at it, I go, no, that's not correct. And the reason it's not correct is because some people have ways that they use social media that works very well for them that doesn't work for other people that way. So my whole thing is that use it and embrace it the way that you guys think you could actually use it. And it will work for you. Sometimes you'll try something that doesn't work for you. You can get rid of it. You can try other things in there as well. As I said earlier, social media, it is not marketing, right? Social media, they're tools that you put in your arsenal to help you engage in marketing. And if I were to look at social media, I think what happens is you have to start with your overall strategy as to, what am I trying to accomplish for my business, or what am I trying to accomplish in my business or in my own little realm? And then you kind of peel it back and you say, okay, what are the little tactics and pieces that kind of fit up into this that are going to allow me to actually accomplish what it is that I have? So that's where social media comes in. And for example, you can say, I'm going to use Twitter to engage with specifically 20 people this year that are in my target demographic, right? So you can put a quantifiable against that, and you can actually go out and try to start engaging with these people as well. So, there's tactics that you have to do with all this. The other thing I say is you do need to keep at it every day. Weekends you can have off, you can do whatever you want on the weekends, but if you're working, I just say devote 10, 15 minutes in the morning, and you can do it. And I'll show you guys later on how you can do that really easily with a couple of simple little tools that you can actually leverage. Some of them are free, some of them are low cost on that sort of stuff. So I'm going to talk about the 5 heavyweights here. So anyone here have a Twitter account? Yeah, wait a sec, I didn't see hands. Wait a sec, let's see. Everyone? Okay, so I'm going to highly recommend when you guys leave, get yourself a Twitter account, if anyone who doesn't have one. And you'll see why in a couple of minutes. LinkedIn, anyone have a LinkedIn account? Okay, good, so everyone's got that. Facebook? Excellent. I still don't get Facebook, to tell you the truth. Maybe it's just because I'm not in the demographics. Google Plus. Anyone have a Google Plus account? Wow. Okay. Okay, good. So I'm going to tell you what. Towards the end, you'll see why you want a Google Plus account. Not only you get one for your business, but you get one for yourself personally. I'll let the cat out of the bag to begin with here. Google is investing so heavy in social media right now with Google Plus that you got to think about it. These guys control 71% of all the searches on the internet. If you're not embracing what they're doing, you're going to be left behind. We'll get to it in a couple of minutes here, and I'll show you why you want to actually do this. Pinterest. Anyone have a Pinterest account? That's not bad. For your guys' realm, for your world, it's actually good because it's visual, right? So you can actually put stuff up and show people. I have a Pinterest account, and I'm going to be brutally honest, I don't use it. But then again, it doesn't fall in my world. Yeah?
I find my teens and younger use Pinterest more. I don't know, people I know don't use it, but the young ones do.
Yeah, the question was, sorry, I have to say it so that people can hear because we don't have the mic out unless you want to do it. But the question was that it was more younger generation uses it and actually does stuff. I didn't do enough research on what the demographics are, but I probably would tend to agree. I think it is very, very visual in nature. Kids can jump on, can share stuff, and do everything like that. If I were to work on kind of the 5, Pinterest would be my lowest one that I'd get to, and I really wouldn't spend a lot of time there. That's me personally, though. I would, well, I'll show you which ones I'd kind of line up and the way I'd do it. But Pinterest it's still to be seen because of the fact that, and I'll show you why in a couple of secs here, there's not as many users as some of the other ones. So if you take a look, I mean, Facebook's the behemoth, right? Over 1 billion people now on Facebook. Twitter, you know, there's 500 million, but there's only about 200 million that are active. So there's about 300 million that are just kind of unactive accounts sitting on there. Google Plus kind of came out of nowhere and just boom, just jumped. And it's really, like I say, if I were to jump on anything, it'd be Google Plus. I kind of stopped doing Facebook stuff just because it's not there. It didn't work for me. Once again, because it doesn't work for me, it doesn't mean it doesn't work for you guys. LinkedIn, I'll show you about 4 tactics you can use on LinkedIn. So how many people get connected or contacted on LinkedIn about stuff they do? Now, do you get contacted by people that are trying to buy from you? Yeah? I saw a shaking head like this, so yeah. I'll show you a couple of things that you can do that'll help attract people towards you as well. And Pinterest, once again, you know, main thing with Pinterest is it's to be seen what happens with them. It is fast growing, but it's nowhere near what the other guys are, right? So, so the first thing we're going to talk about, Twitter. So why do I want to talk about Twitter? So first of all, Twitter's all about being heard, 140 characters at a time. And this is the one where I was talking earlier about the tool that generates the most sales leads. It's actually Twitter. And if you can understand and grasp the concept I'm going to come up with here in a couple of seconds, you will generate or understand how you can generate sales leads using Twitter. It's quite easy, and I use it all the time, and it actually generates quite a few connections and sales leads for me, and it can actually be deployed against your guys' world too. You know, when it's 32% of all the social media that's being used, but it delivers 82% of the sales leads, once again, where would I start? Twitter. Get a Twitter account. Remember what I said up front? Get a Twitter account. That's why you want to get a Twitter account, is because it will actually generate sales leads for you. You know, when you see the stats like 27% of the people do get on every day, 25% follow a brand, but the 25% that follow a brand, 67% turn into clients. So one of those things where you're engaging with people, if you're working in a company or you have a company, and you can get people to start engaging with you on Twitter that are in your target demographic and start following you, you know, you have higher odds for actually getting these guys to become clients of yours as well. So very, very important. I'm going to go into some of the tactics here. So this is hands down the easiest way to generate sales leads from Twitter. So first of all, on Twitter, the nice thing about it is that people have a bio. They can tell you where they're from and what they do, or what their background is, or whatever it is. You can actually find those specific people. So I would imagine everyone sitting in this room is looking for a certain type of person. It's going to be a company size, it's going to be a person within that company, or whatever that may be. It might be business owners, it might not be, it might be someone who's a purchasing agent. I don't know what it is. But Twitter will actually help you find those people online within your demographic area that you want to go after. You can do a big search on that one. One of the tools that I use that works very well is something called TweetAdder. And TweetAdder, it is a program, you have to pay for it. It's about $50, I think, for a single seat of that. But what you can do is you can actually target people specifically and try to get them to follow you. So the first thing is target your audience, try to start either getting them to follow you or to engage with you as well. Now, when I say that, there's lots of rules behind this. You have to be very careful. Twitter does not allow you to just go start adding people without them following you back. If you get too many people on, they'll shut your account down. So you have to be very strategic about this. I'm not going to get into it right here, but if you really want to know about it, either come see me afterwards or email me at chris@salestipaday.com, and I'll let you guys know how and the rules and what you have to do on that one. The other thing you want to do is, and this is assuming you have a website or you have information up on your website, is to create some compelling content online. What I tell a lot of people to do is create white papers or create a coupon or do something that somebody will engage with you. Put it onto a page on your website or a landing page on your website. Then what happens is you create a tweet. Anyone heard of a hashtag in Twitter? It's the £. So you can group certain things based on that, and people will go looking for that information. So for example, what I use every day is hashtag marketing, which means what I'm tweeting out has to do with marketing. People will search for that, and they'll come find it, and they'll come back to my website. That is probably hands down, one of the biggest, easiest things that you can do to get found online as well. Use hashtag.org, and you can actually search certain terms to see how many times it's actually being searched over a 24-hour period. And then, so something that you think may be searched quite a bit, may not. Just start toying around with it, and you'll start seeing how often things are being searched. For example, I used to put sales up all the time, not realizing people were actually looking for physical items that were on sale as opposed to sales and marketing, right? So I had to change it to selling so that it would actually convey what my messages were, right? So you have to hunt around and do that sort of stuff. And what you do is that when you have this sitting up on a website, you have this information that someone's going to come in and actually, look for this sort of stuff. Before you give it to them, make sure that you capture a name and an email. And how you do that is you can use email services like Aweber or MailChimp, or you can create forms on your website where people will do that sort of stuff. If you have a WordPress website or a Joomla or whatever, there's a lot of plugins that you can use to put on that sort of stuff. And then what happens is, once you have that name and email, guess what? They've given you permission to start marketing to them on a regular basis. So the one thing is with Twitter, what I find is people use it the worst way for actual marketing. They push stuff out, but the problem with Twitter is your tweet goes up here and like 2 seconds later it's way down at the bottom because there's so much going on Twitter. If you could just use the hashtags, funnel people towards a web page, get their information and get them to sign up, that now allows you to send information out to them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. I wouldn't go any more than monthly. For you guys, it'd be perfect, right? It's like we got golf apparel or something like that. Or I've got whatever kind of products that we want to show people. The whole idea behind that is that you can put this into an email newsletter. Anyone here have an email newsletter that they run? One. Okay, I'll get into that in a bit too. I'll show you guys the tips and tricks on using an email newsletter, because that thing will drive tons of sales leads for you as well. So that's my Twitter tactic. By the way, it works very well for me. Typically 6% of the people that hit my website give me their name and email just from using that process. So I mean, that's a lot when you think about it, right? So that's a lot of people going in there. Now, here's 12 things that I learned about Twitter. So this is actually 12 things that when Jeffrey Gitomer, anyone heard of Jeffrey Gitomer here? Anybody? Yeah? Okay. So I have ADD. Jeffrey Gitomer has ADD on Red Bull. The guy is like all over the map, right? So he sends me a request on LinkedIn and says, hey, good to connect with you, call me, right? I thought he was joking. So I sent him back, I go, hey, it's an honor, da-da-da, whatever. Is there anything I could do for you? Call me, right? So I try to call him, and of course his cell phone's all filled up, and I can't leave a message. I finally talked to him a couple days later, and he goes, I want you to be in my book. I go, okay, what do you want me to write about? He goes, whatever, 12 things about Twitter, tell me. Gotta go, see ya, click, done. Oh, okay, so I'll do this. So I wrote 12 things that I learned about Twitter. And some of these, well, most of them hold true today. This is about 1.5 years ago, actually almost 2 years ago that this came out. He found me just through a tweet. I just sent a tweet out, and what it was I'd been blogging for about 1 year, and I sent something, I said the 10 things I learned about blogging for 1 year, right? So that's how he found it, and he goes, I love it. I thought it was great. He goes, yeah, now do this for me. Okay, sir. So I did. So what happens is, I'm just going to go through all 12 of these just to give you an understanding of why Twitter is also important and how to engage. You do have to tweet regularly. You can't just do something once or twice and expect massive results. It's like anything. It's like lifting weights, right? You go to the gym, lift weights, and you expect to be Schwarzenegger a week later. It's not going to happen. You have to put some time and effort into this stuff. So you do have to tweet regularly to do this sort of stuff. The other thing too is it could be a terrific source of traffic to your website or engaging with you. So I mean, people will find you and start trying to engage with you as well. When people do find you, you have to respond to them. So anyone who has a Twitter account here, do you actually respond? Do people contact you? Yeah? Do you respond to them?
Sometimes, depending on who it is.
Okay.
But if I look at their profile and I don't really have any idea who they are or
Yeah.
what it's about, no.
Yeah. Sometimes it's creepy, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you pick and choose, but if it's a legit one, obviously do respond. It's a conversation piece is what's going on out there. What I do is I also tell people share information. So if you come across anything online that you think is interesting, you just take it and you can share it out. There's lots of different things that you can do. Use Shareaholic or most websites, or well, I shouldn't say most. 35% of websites have a social share widget where you can actually share information amongst those people. And it works well. The other thing I always say is, you have 140 characters. Make sure you get your point across in 140 characters. Don't do something, start, and then try it on a next tweet, and then do it in the next tweet, because it'll get lost in the minutia and people finding it. Do it in 120 characters or less. So you have 140 characters in Twitter, do it in 120 or less. And the reason being is because if you write something awesome and you got a link, people will share it. The only way they can share it, though, is that they have to have that extra 20 characters to be able to put retweet from somebody else. So that's, I always tell people, do it in 120 characters or less, which really you have to just focus on what you're trying to say as well. The other thing too, hashtags, I already talked about that, right? Tell people what you're actually thinking about. What I do a lot of the days or a lot of times when I have a blog post up, it'll be like, learn how to use this tool for your hashtag marketing, and then I'll have a link so that people will go through and find it. But people know it's about marketing, so they go through that way. Your tweets do have a short shelf life. So as I was talking, goes up here, and then literally it's like boom, it's down, way down, buried by so many people tweeting that it's, unless you're using hashtags or people are finding it that way, you'll never get found. So you just, you have to have an understanding that it does have a short shelf life. Anyone here use Hootsuite? Anyone know what Hootsuite is? So you do use Hootsuite. Hootsuite is it's a dashboard into your social media world, and as I say, I'm talking very high level here, and you may not understand it 100%, but I gave most of you guys my cards. For the people that are viewing online, you can reach me at 403-630-1243, and I'll answer questions. Don't call now because you'll disrupt me, but Hootsuite is a dashboard. You can put your Twitter feed up there, your Facebook feed, and it's all in one place, so you don't have to jump from one place to another and start following people and seeing what's going on. You can see it all in one spot. And this is, Hootsuite, hands down, is, for me, first thing in the morning, that 10-15 minutes I devote is the biggest and best tool that I've ever actually used to get everything in one spot where I can converse with people. The other thing, too, is it's a great spot. It's a great place to find opportunities. So there's an advanced search feature on Twitter that if you go in, people are always asking, how do I overcome this problem? How do I do this? How do I do that, right? And there's people that are in your realm, in your world, that are looking for certain things. How do I prepare for a trade show? Where do I go to get products for a trade show or whatever? If you can set up alerts for yourself so that you can actually see these things coming through to you. That's free sales leads just coming to you guys on a regular basis. Once again, if you want to figure it out, talk to me afterwards or send me an email or give me a call. Google Alerts is a great way that you can actually find this stuff. There's also a lot of social media tools or listening tools that'll find this for you. But it's an excellent opportunity for actually finding sales leads. And people are out there just looking for help. It's an amazing way to actually get help as well. I always say tweet when your audience is online. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Don't tweet at 3 in the morning if your audience is on at 9 a.m. in the morning, because you'll never get seen, never get heard type stuff. And last but not least, I told you I have like 70,000 Twitter followers between about 6 accounts or 5 accounts or something like that. Literally, I just say all my followers rock. They're awesome. They engage with me. They talk to me. They come and look at my blog posts. They do stuff with me. It's great. They're just great people. So I love I love the fact that I've got a phenomenal number of Twitter followers that actually follow me on a regular basis. Google Plus. So once again, I'm going to get into this because of the fact that, as I told you guys earlier, Google is putting a massive effort into the into Google Plus and Google Plus Local. Does anyone know what Google Plus Local is? Okay, so I'm going to show you guys at the end of this presentation how to just kill your competition with Google Plus. There's a tactic here, and I'm going to show you. I used Calgary Promotional Products, and I will show you why some of your competitors I'll show you their weaknesses, especially against Google, and how you can actually beat them at it. So so I'm enticing you guys to stay till the very end so that you can actually understand what I'm talking about. But this tactic with Google Plus it's amazing when you see it. Google Plus, if Twitter's about being heard, Google Plus is about following passions, and it's an excellent tool. As I say, Google is hedging a lot on Google Plus. They did a social media tool. Kirsten, do you remember the name of that?
Social media tool.
Remember their first social media tool? It was called Big Bomb. It failed miserably, right? And they licked their wounds, went back and figured out, okay, wait a sec, how do we actually do this properly? And they came out the gate. And so Google Plus, what they're doing with Google Plus is, Kirsten and I kind of talk about this all the time. Literally, they're trying to engage on an individual level with people. And what they're doing is they're creating this stickiness so that people will have to rely on Google to get a lot of their information. So once again, when I say, if you're not on Google Plus and you're not embracing Google Plus, you will get left behind and your competition will figure this out. I'm hedging a bet here that Google Plus is going to be the Facebook killer, right? Facebook killed MySpace. I truly believe Google Plus is going to kill Facebook. Facebook is going to be a one-hit wonder, and that's it. I'll give you an example. You're online and you're looking up, let's say, pizza in Edmonton, right? You'll see the little map in the upper right-hand corner, and I get to this a bit later on in the presentation, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a map with a bunch of dots on it, right? That's Google Plus local listings. And what happens is, if you notice, the listings are right near the top of the page. That's where all the clicks get through for everything. So when you look at it, and I'm going to tell you right now, so on Calgary promotional products, I'm giving away the secret to start with here, but there's 7 listings for promotional products companies. Only 2 companies have actually claimed their Google Plus local listing. So some of you guys may be in there. I didn't use Edmonton, I used Calgary because we're in Edmonton, so I felt like picking on the place where I'm from. But I'll show you that just by going and claiming that and putting a few keywords in and stuff, you will actually start showing up in the Google results ultimately on this stuff. And you'll beat your competition. So I see you writing furiously. I will actually, remember it's on, we'll have the presentation, we'll have the video for you guys too. So, but if you do want to write, that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. The other thing too is getting testimonials. So when you go and take a look at these listings, you'll see that there's companies that have no reviews and some have a couple of reviews. If you get 10 reviews, then you go into what they call this Zagat score. Zagat used to be a rating system for restaurants. Google bought it about a year and a half ago, and it just meshed it in with this whole Google Plus process that they're doing. And it's a scale out of 30. And if you guys can get testimonials for your company against this, then what happens is you'll end up showing up with the Zagat score. The person who probably has the most positive testimonials, think about it this way. I'll give you a prime example. My wife and I are placed down in Scottsdale. My wife wanted to renovate the kitchen. So how does she do this? Kitchen renovation Scottsdale. Who did she pick? The person with the most positive reviews. And that's who we used. Personally, I'd go through a process of vetting 3 people, but my process is actually keeping my wife happy, so we just let her do it. That's a lot of the people's processes. They go through and they find out who's got the most positive reviews. I'm going to call these guys. Anyone who has no reviews, I don't know. I don't have any social proof. And the reason I say social proof is, believe it or not, people believe reviews from strangers 71% of the time. It could be the most fictitious thing in the world. It could be awful, right? But people going on and seeing it through Google Plus go, oh, must be right because someone else wrote it. Great. So I'll just believe what they've said. So that's henceforth the positive reviews. I mean, this will be killer. I'm giving you guys gold dust here. This is like amazing. And if you follow this, you will get found online. First things first too, set up a personal profile. They have this thing. So in Facebook where you friend people, what you do in Google Plus is you circle people. So you can create different groups and circle people. That's extremely important too, because at the bottom there you see when you start circling people, and if they circle you back, when they start looking stuff up in line. So imagine you're finding the people that are in your target demographic and you're circling them if they're on Google Plus. If they follow you back, guess what? Anything that you do online, if you post something up or put something up or you put up on Google Plus, you start showing up in their search results. You may not normally show up in their search results, but if they look up Google golf apparel, they look up golf apparel Edmonton, Calgary, or whatever, and you've written something on golf apparel and it's up on your website or up somewhere or it's on Google Plus or whatever, all of a sudden it starts showing up. And they see your picture, they see all this information, and they're like, oh, I think I'll go contact this person. So it's an amazing tool for that sort of stuff. One of the tactics that I use is Google Plus communities. They've created these communities. They're kind of like groups in LinkedIn, if you know what that is. But the communities are like-minded people. And there's a whole bunch cropping up. My take is you can search and find out what communities are out there, or, you know what, even a better thing, create your own. Create a community. Your geographical area, small business, whatever, or something like that. You control that, but you've got all these people that are coming in and joining your community, and you're the person that's in charge of that, so you get all that stuff. Google Hangouts is kind of cool too, from the standpoint of it's actually video conversations. You can have up to 10 people on it, so it's kind of it's a cool tool. It's in there for you guys to take a look at, and they use the same thing. They use the hashtag or the pound key, and specifically to denote what a comment might be on Google+. So, you know, that's kind of same thing. If I were going to hedge my bets, I would jump on Google+. Twitter and Google+ are the two big ones that I would be focusing on right now if I were in your guys' world as well. LinkedIn, I think we said, how many people on LinkedIn? I think everyone was like basically on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, that's crazy. But you know, this one, if Twitter is kind of, you know, being heard and Google+ is about following your passions, this is your business network, right? The average age is 45 or 44. You know, 79% of these guys are over 30, people are over 35 and have an average income of over $86,000 a year. You know, it's a professional network is what it comes down to. But there's great ways that you can actually use this network to your advantage. Most people only fill their profile out 50% of the way. They leave another 50%. I'll give you a tip and a trick on this one. So Google has this wonderful little tool called the keyword tool. Go type in Google keyword tool. Then put in a term that best relates to your industry. And it'll start giving you a whole bunch of different alternatives to it and how many times it's searched globally and also for the country that you choose. Take those terms and in the profile, or not the profile, your profile section, I think you can get up to 1,000 or 1,500 characters in there. Put that term in 3, 4, 5 times in there. And it'll be like, let's say promotional products guru, for example, right? If someone looks up promotional products guru and you have that 5 or 6 times in your profile, you're going to start showing up in their results. So figure out what you want to get found on and put it into the profile. And that's how you're going to end up showing up in results. And that's how people will start contacting you guys through LinkedIn, because some of those people on LinkedIn are looking for what you have to offer. So they'll search for it and they'll find the person that can help them out on that sort of stuff. Same thing as with Google+. In LinkedIn, there's groups. My take is start your own group and people will start coming towards that. Think about when you are starting a group though, the people that you're catering towards. Kirsten and I run an event down in Calgary called the Energy Services Network, networking event, and it's specifically geared for energy services companies. Apparently the title gave that away, but the idea behind it is that we want to engage people that are in the energy services industry. I jump on this group every once in a while, but I've got like 300-400 members on it now. I didn't even realize that until like about 2 weeks ago when I jumped on. But these are all people that are small businessmen usually that are in the demographics of where we're trying to play into. So you can use groups to your advantage to actually get people to come and engage with you. And it becomes a source of sales leads for you. The other thing too is that I tell people join the groups, or a lot of the groups that are out there. You can join up to 50 groups. Now the reason why you want to join up to 50 groups, does anyone go into LinkedIn and use the search function to find people on LinkedIn? Like, anyone ever done that? No? Okay, so there is the advanced feature that you can use, and those of you that are familiar with it understand what I'm talking about, but you can go in and you can find people that fit specific demographics. The results show up, and down at the bottom, you can tell if they're part of a group or not part of a group that you belong to. If someone's not part of a group, you have to pay money to actually try to connect with them. If they are part of a group, you can actually do it for free. So you can actually hit the people that are in your target demographic, find out who they are, find out what groups they're in. When you find out they're in that group, you just go to that group, find out, you search their name in the group, and they'll pop up, and you go, send a message, boom, and you go directly to them. And that's how you find them.
Now, be careful, because I took advantage of that, and I actually maxed out my account on LinkedIn as a result of it. If you add too many people
You're
too
talking,
quickly.
you're talking something different though.
But that's the groups.
Yeah.
That's adding people in groups. You gotta invite people in, but don't just go crazy and invite everybody in all the groups, hoping that you're gonna build your network quickly.
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn will shut you down if you do that.
But what I'm talking about is you can actually send them a message without even having to connect with them.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
true.
talking about. So don't, yeah, like as Kirsten says, don't go jumping on and try to connect with all these people and link with them, because they will shut your account down. You have to do it, you know, a bit in a piece at a time and stuff like that. LinkedIn advertising it's an enigma wrapped in a riddle for me, but it is kind of interesting because you can get so laser focused on a certain demographic and you can use it. The only pitfall that I find with LinkedIn advertising is that it starts at $2 a click, so it's very expensive to actually do it. But I would imagine if you're working for a bigger company and they're willing to do it, you know, well, use their nickel to actually do something like that, obviously. But it is interesting. You can hit the right people within certain companies or within certain demographics or within certain you know, titles that are in companies. So if you're looking specifically, what would be a promotional products? Who would you look for in a company? Anybody? I threw Nelson on the spot. Would it be like a purchasing agent? Would it be what kind of people would you look for?
Marketing manager.
Marketing manager. Okay.
HR.
So same thing. You can go in and when you use the LinkedIn advertising, you just look up anyone, VP marketing, marketing manager, communications director, whatever it is. You can get those groups and you can do it in Calgary, Alberta, Western Canada. You can do it any way you want to do it and stuff. It's interesting, but you can chew through a lot of money very quickly if you're doing it that way. So
Yeah, and you need a clear call to action when you lead people to a certain page. Make sure you're getting something in exchange right away. So it has to be very compelling.
Facebook. So, you know, once again, if Twitter is talking about, you know, being heard, Google Plus is about following your passion, LinkedIn is business, Facebook is the beer party that you go to, right? So it's like that's hanging out with your buddies and family and friends and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk a lot about Facebook. The only reason is because, truthfully, I've had a tough time actually embracing Facebook to try to use it for business. In fact, Kirsten was using it with advertising and finally shut the advertising off because it just wasn't getting the results. And you know, for tactics though, one thing I would do is make sure that you have a Facebook share button on your website, at least by products, because the one thing that does happen is that because so many people are connected, they will use that Facebook share and it shares amongst their network as well. Kirsten and I interviewed a guy who wrote, what was it, Facebook Advertising for Dummies, I think it was, a while back. And his tactic to making for Facebook advertising work was very similar to what I do with my Twitter tactic. Bring people through to a web page and have an email sign up form. That's how it works best, so that you can actually capture a name and an email and continually market to these people as well.
Yeah, and it is a useful tool to syndicate an event. That's the only thing I've been able to get it to work for, is if I have an event, I'll syndicate it through my network. I'll let people know there is an event coming up. And when they like it, of course, everyone on their networks sees that. So that's how I've been using it.
Try, you know, if you can get people to like a Facebook page too, same thing. You can actually use the advertising to promote directly to them. But once again, be wary with the Facebook advertising. I just really have not found it work. It doesn't work very well, and I think it's going to be part of the demise of Facebook. That's my personal belief. Pinterest is your visual side, right? So it's just the visual nature of things. Once again, it's to be seen whether Pinterest is going to be a player or not in the industry. But you know, basically what you want to do, you want to optimize your profile. You create the targeted pin boards. So in your guys' world, you have so much different clothing, products, all that stuff, right? You can actually put this as pin boards and put stuff up. People will find it. Add the images, right? Obviously take them from your website and add them on so that people can come back to your website. And last but not least, make sure you do connect it with other social media accounts so that when that stuff goes up, at least it's broadcast out around the world. That's my take on Pinterest. Not much more. If I were to start, once again, I'd start with Twitter because it drives the most sales leads. Leveraging that process that I talked to you guys about, Google Plus, then Facebook. You know what, I should have reversed that. LinkedIn would probably be next. I forgot the in on the LinkedIn part. And then finally Pinterest. I do have others though that I want to talk to you about very quickly. Even though you kind of look at them, they are social networks, but they're not necessarily social networks. Anyone heard of SlideShare? No? Okay, SlideShare allows you to create and share presentations and white papers, and you can share videos and stuff on there too. It was bought by LinkedIn about a year and a half ago, and it works extremely well for me because I put content up all the time, and it drives people back to your site. I say explore it, take a look at it, and see what you can think about it, and see if it works for you. There's a whole bunch of nifty little features in there, but something that we're not going to get into today, obviously. It'd take too long to actually get into it. Flickr and PhotoBucket are image sites. They're interesting, and I'll give you a couple of tactics on that. Anyone have a Flickr account here? Yeah? PhotoBucket account? They're kind of the same, but Flickr is, you can put a photo up. So let's say you have a jacket that you guys look after or sell or something like that. You put the jacket up on there. And then you can put a description. In the description, put a hyperlink through to your website and how people can contact you. And make sure that you put that jacket in there. We did that with a friend of mine who has foldable water bottles, and we put it up on Flickr, and it started driving a ton of traffic. And she's in the promotional products industry. It started driving a ton of traffic to her website, and people contacting her looking for foldable water bottles and all that stuff. YouTube. Anyone here got a YouTube account? Say, I'll tell you something about YouTube. Do you know YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world? Did you guys know that? Believe it or not, second largest search engine in the world right after Google. Who owns YouTube? Google. So an interesting fact here. So, and people are visual in nature as well. So once again, if you can create videos around your products or your offerings, it's a great way to get found online. And I'll let you in on the secret. What you do, so you use a geography. So Calgary, something, something, you know, jackets or whatever you guys sell. In the body, use the same thing, use the same term. Have a hyperlink so that people can actually click through. And a hyperlink is just the website URL that you have where people can go through to it. Put your contact information in there, a little bit of verbiage, and then they have tags down at the bottom. Use the exact same term. Same term in the title, same term in the body, same term in the tags down below. And chances are you're going to see these videos start showing up higher on YouTube, and people will start contacting you that way as well. So it's YouTube. It's a tremendous opportunity to get found online, and I highly suggest anyone does it. Video, by the way, is remembered 8 times more than written information, and believe it or not, Cisco predicts that by 2015, video will be consumed 90% of the time on the web, as opposed to written information and also by visual information. So it's, I mean, the future is now, and if you're not using YouTube, you have a great opportunity. Now, one other thing I'll tell you about YouTube. So, pick a product. You in the back, pick a product that you sell.
Mugs.
Mugs. Okay. Where do you live?
Sherwood Park.
Sherwood Park. Okay, let's go Sherwood Park promotional mugs or something like that. Go to YouTube and look that up. See how many results you get, or not YouTube, to Google and look that up. See how many results you get. It'll be in the millions, right? Go to YouTube and look that up. Bet you there's none, right? Second largest search engine in the world and no results for it. You sit there and you go, wait a second here. Second largest search engine in the world, no results for it, and I can get found on this. I think I got something going on here. I think I'll make some videos around mugs in Sherwood Park or something like that, or Edmonton or whatever it is. There's a secret for you guys. That one will work very well to get you found as well. So, just checking the time here. So we've got about half an hour. So, anyone got a headache yet? No? Is the information okay? Is it good? Okay. Tips on your social media profile. Obviously, I talked about it before in LinkedIn. It's use the keywords in your profile to get found. The profile I have up here is actually kind of bad. I stole it from my SlideShare profile, but I couldn't put my LinkedIn there because it was 1,500 characters. It would have been huge. You wouldn't be able to see it. Have a good profile picture. Obviously, this one was taken way before I went gray, and probably put on another 20 pounds. But make sure you have a decent profile picture. Give people numerous ways to reach you. So obviously, I've got my website on here. I show them how to get a hold of me via Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, different ways that you can do that sort of stuff. Put your other social media profiles in as well, and people will find you that way. So it's a means of getting found as well. So I'm going to show you guys 5 things you need on your website now. Okay, so who was it? Once again, who owns websites here? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so do you guys also want to see how I got over $11,000 in advertising for free? Anyone want to see that? Okay, I'll show you that. But it would be afterwards, so you're going to have to hang around, right? I give all these afters and later so you guys have to hang around and see what's going on. But I'm going to show you something so simple. And I used it and it's probably worth over $12,000, $13,000 in advertising right now. And it was only for one thing. Like you guys sell so much different stuff, you could actually multiply this. You could have millions of dollars worth of free advertising. I'll show you how to do it. It's simple to do. Okay, so 5 things you need on your website. Anyone heard of a social share widget? See that thing that's down the side there where it says like, you know, like us 3,000, da da da. You see these on websites, right? So the whole idea behind it, remember I told you guys the whole idea behind social media is, hey, I found something cool and I want to share it with you? Facilitate that sharing with people. How do you do that? With a social share widget. And the reason why I say that is, go around and take a look at your competitors' websites and see if they have a social share widget on all the pages. I recommend putting it on all the pages so that people will actually be able to share it. I'm going to guarantee you that a lot of your competitors don't have it sitting on their website. So think of it this way, is I'm having a conversation with Kirsten. I say, hey, I need ball caps to be able to give out to guys. Kirsten remembers that. He's off looking at something. He sees a ball cap on a website. He goes, oh, Chris was talking about this. Click. Hey, Chris, go take a look at this. And he hits me on Twitter, right? He's sharing your information to me. And I'm valuing it because he's my buddy. I go, oh, well, maybe I should go take a look at this. And I'll go over there. Here's the interesting thing. Only 35% of websites actually have a social share widget. And they're free. You can get them for free. And they're super simple to put on your website as well. If you got a website designer, you know anything about, you know, if you got a WordPress site or whatever, there's a lot of plugins and stuff like that. Of these, I would make sure that you have Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. At least those 3. And the reason being is because those are the 3 with the lion's share. The next 2 largest social media ones are Pinterest and LinkedIn. They're both approximately 4% of the amount of shares that happen out there. So, and I saw a stat, and I'm trying to remember it. I'm going to goof this one up, but I'm going to try to hack it as best I can. People will use the Facebook share and share it with at least 9 people in their network if they find something interesting. So if they find something on your website and they got a Facebook share, it facilitates this viral marketing. This is viral marketing at its best, to tell you the truth. If you've ever heard the term viral marketing, everyone goes, what's viral marketing? Well, this is the best example of viral marketing, and it's free. It's on your website, so you can actually facilitate it. Where do you find these widgets? So tremendous one is called Add This. And as I said, there's plugin, all the major websites, if you're in WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, whatever, they have plugins for it. If there isn't a plugin, you just go to Add This, sign up for an account, and they'll give you a piece of code, and your website guy can put it on the website for you. And you just put it on every single page. Another one is called Shareaholic. There's one called Tellum. There's a bunch out there. And once again, this is the best way to get people to share your information and give it to people online. Hands down, I would do this on every single page. Every single post on my blog post has this on it, so that it actually allows people to share. And if you go to my blog post, tons of people just share my information on a regular basis with other people, which facilitates a lot of traffic back to my website. So it's a great way to have it. So that's the first one. Second one, live chat. Anyone ever seen a live chat? Anyone got live chat on their website? Okay, so here's why you want to have live chat. So remember I told you we're going to take the cold out of cold calling? So this stuff, if you put it on your website, I have a client in Calgary. First of all, I'll start before we do this. I have a client in Calgary. They're a plumbing and heating company. They have this live chat on their website, but they had it in what they call the offline mode. So if you click on it, what you do is it says, give us your name and your email and ask the question. These guys were driving $200,000 worth of quotes every single month in this offline mode. They never engaged with anyone. They just got people asking them to quote on stuff. They closed about 1/3 of that. So this thing was about $60,000 to $65,000 worth of business every month for them, with people they never had to talk to before that they were engaged with as well. Now, if any of you look at the statistics on your website, you're going to see about 80% of the people that hit your website on average will go away and never come back again. They're called new visitors, and they never come back again. If you can engage with these people through a live chat widget, typically you'll get about 15% of them, of that 80%, will engage with you. So if they're on a web page, I'm not going to try to get technical here and stuff, but you can actually, if you see, you can see people on a web page and you can actually ask them a question. Or you can set up triggers that'll allow it to actually ask that question. 15% of those people, that 80%, by the way, who go away and never come back to your website again, you can get 15% of them to talk to you. And the reason 80% of people are leaving your website is because they can't find the information they're looking for. So what they're looking for is they want someone to actually tell them something about it. So if you just put a question out to them, 15% of those people will engage with you. On average, and this is a study that was done by Deloitte, 24% of those people, of the 15%, if you're following my math here, will become customers. So these are free sales leads that are coming in the door, free clients that are coming in the door. That's 3 in every 100. That's probably better than the odds that you have right now with just your website sitting up there. You'll get more sales leads and clients just by putting this thing in here. And it's a 24/7 sales machine. It just constantly goes and works for you. So I always tell people, by the way, it's free to use. Go to zoopum.com. There's other ones out there. Same thing. It's free and you can put it on your website. It's an amazing tool. Now this one also has a pay-for version. It's about $20 a month. It's got a little bit more oomph to it, but it is a great tool that you can actually use and leverage as well. Anyone here use Google AdWords on their website? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. So you know what AdWords is though, right? It's the ads that are on the top or down the side of Google. Google has a process now. It's called remarketing. And when I tell you this, you're going to go, yeah, I know that. Okay, so you go to Best Buy on their website and you look at laptops. And you go, that's nice, whatever, boom, and you bust off. A couple days later, you're over at CNN and you see an ad for Best Buy for laptops. You go to Forbes a couple days later, you see an ad for Best Buy for laptops. You go somewhere else, you see an ad for Best Buy for laptops, and you think, geez, man, this ad's following me everywhere. That's Google remarketing in action. Anyone ever seen that? Understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, it creeps you out, right? Because you're kind of looking at it going like, what's going on? Why is this ad following me? It's Google remarketing. What we tell people on this one, and there's a couple of key things on this. If you're using just Google text ads, this is about 30% less expensive to do, and it actually converts at 70% better than people than regular AdWords. Now, I'll show you another trick that you guys can use. Anyone ever send out promotional information? Flyers, sales letters, anything like that? Okay, so if you layer in remarketing with a flyer, sales letter, whatever, and you're pushing people back to a website, and it's for a specific offer, your response rates will actually be about 400 times higher, or 400% higher than if you don't have remarketing on it. So what happens is you use it in conjunction with an offline, with the online, and your odds go up dramatically on that one. By the way, another thing you do is if you put a flyer out or a piece of information out, give a person 3 ways or more to get a hold of you or get in contact with you, and you increase your likelihood of increasing sales leads by 125% as well. All these little tidbits of information. So if you just do those sort of things, you'll increase your odds and opportunities of getting found. The interesting thing about remarketing, and here's how I use it, and I actually don't display to anyone right now. I have no ads going. I got more than enough business on my plate right now. I don't have to have ads going. But anyone who hits my website, it cookies their computer. Do you know what a cookie is? It's a pretty standard thing, right? It allows you to save passwords and everything like that. Google uses that. It cookies your computer. So all these people that are hitting your website, you're building a list of people. You don't know who they are, but you're building this list month over month, week over week, day over day, whatever. It keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And at some point in time, you can collect all these people up to 18 months. And should you choose at any point in time to start running a remarketing campaign, all you got to do is flick the switch on, and it'll go back 18 months from the first person that hit your website or a person that hit your website and start displaying those ads to those people. So, for example, for every 1,000 people that hit your website, within 12 months, you'll get 10 to 20 sales leads coming in the door just by doing that. This is just doing things a little different. I always tell people if you do this, kind of go, change things a little bit, and you'll actually increase your likelihoods of getting way more sales leads. And that's what it basically comes down to if you're in this world. You're trying to get a lot of sales leads. It's just a great way to market, but I do put a caveat on this. Be very careful when you're doing this stuff because you can plow through a lot of money very quickly if you're not doing it in a smart way. make sure that you talk to someone or engage with someone who knows what they're doing, because it can cost you an arm and a leg. And we've seen people blow literally thousands of dollars a month on wasted stuff.
An agency messed up in one case, which cost them thousands and thousands because they redirected.
I had one agency on a client last year, cost them $120,000 on AdWords campaigns because they messed up. And they were so afraid, the client I had was so afraid to go back because they thought they'd get roasted by this company. Anyways, long story, I don't want to get into it, and we're not playing psychologists here. Email marketing. So once again, who has email marketing? Nobody? Anybody? Okay, good. A couple of you. Here's why you want to do it. Highest return on investment on any paid marketing out there. Highest return on investment. For every buck you put in, you actually get about $43 to $44 back if you're doing it properly. The open rates are getting higher. They're growing again. People are actually coming and opening up email stuff. I got all this information from HubSpot, which is also a wonderful resource. The word secret in the subject line, obviously it gets it open a lot more. Here's the interesting thing. This works for you guys. It's awesome. Pictures are preferred 65% of the time more than written information. So if you guys have cool, awesome looking pictures, just put it in with a little bit of text saying if you want to find out more, click here or something like that. 6 a.m. Saturday mornings, I guess like no one's got nothing going on like me. 6 a.m. Saturday morning, I got 3 kids running around the house driving me nuts, right? But I'm certainly not reading it, but other people do.
That's business to business then?
This actually business to business and also business to consumer. Yeah, yeah. So all this stuff, it works. Business to business, what happens is people take their stuff home, right? That one is probably more business to consumer than it is business to business, right? The other thing is if you use email marketing, it opens up a view into your clients or people that are on your list, because you can see if you have the right tools, Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact, you can see who's clicking on what links you put in your email. So you can see what people are interested in. And you can do a follow-up with these people as well. So it actually opens up the door and allows you to have educated conversations with people after you send that blast out. It's a great way to actually generate sales leads too. Once again, we can't get into it right now, but if you want to find out more, you can always let me know, and we can actually run an event for you guys sometime down the road as well. So has anyone got signed up for my newsletter on their website? By seeing this, obviously no one's going to say that right now. Whatever you do, not put sign up for my newsletter on your website, whatever you do. People don't want to know about your newsletter, to tell you the truth. You know what you want to do is think about the person you're trying to cater towards. I would say the 10 things that you need to know before you start buying promotional products, the 10 pitfalls that you'll find by buying promotional products, the 7 things that that'll cost you money by buying promotional products, the right way to buy, 7 things to tell you the right way to buy promotional products, whatever it is. Give that kind of information away, and people will give you their name and email. They want to be educated, right? And they want to understand what it is.
More like a white paper.
It is a white paper, but you know what? To create the white paper, it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I have one on my website, upper right-hand corner, that I created about 3 years ago, and I revamp it every 6 months to 12 months, but it took me no longer than about half an hour to do. It's really quick. It doesn't have to be more than about 2 or 3 pages, right? And it's very simple.
So I have a question, I'll talk a little later, that goes back to when we were talking about Twitter and others. You said, make sure you get something back, get their email. Now we're saying, don't say sign up for it, but this all kind of works together.
But exactly, when it's in Twitter and when it's in Facebook, you're trying to dangle a carrot for these guys, right? And you're trying to say, Facebook, for example, you can say 10% off your next purchase or a purchase or whatever it is, right?
When it links to your website, then what are you saying to get that email address?
Same sort of thing. It's what you're doing is you're trying to entice them with something. So afterwards, I would highly recommend everyone go to Sales Tip a Day, which is my website, salestipaday.com. You'll see an example in the upper right-hand corner. It's the 25 must-have sales and marketing tips. And I just give 25 tips away. In fact, I give 35 tips away because I add another 10 in after the fact too. But that's the sort of stuff that you want to entice these people with. People don't sign up for newsletters. In fact, I have a friend who is in the promotional product space, and on her website she had signed up for a newsletter. I said, how many people signed up? She goes, well, my mom in Edmonton and my husband. I said, how long has it been up there? About 2 years. It's like, okay. Then what we did is we actually changed it, and we came up with, I think it was 9 things you need to know about buying promotional products. As soon as we did that, she started having more people signing up, right? Because When someone comes to your website, they're trying to figure something out, they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And if you can educate them enough, they'll understand that, right? And then if you continually educate them and put stuff in front of them, you'll just sell to them. It's a great process to do. We're coming up the end part here, but we got about 20 minutes left. I'm going to talk about an extra bonus on email marketing. So this is something that I ran with a friend who was in the promotional products business. And I put myself in your guys' shoes. Instead of just going and trying to sell products to someone, if you can show someone how to be more effective at what they do, then chances are they'll be more than happy to actually do business with you. And I'll give you a prime example. Trade shows. So when people do trade shows, and there's tons of them, go to, just look online and look up trade shows, and you'll see, you can find the directories where trade shows are happening. A lot of people that are going to trade shows need to buy promotional products, right? So it's a great demographic for all you guys. These guys go to trade shows, and they usually stand behind the booth, and they're doing next to nothing, and what happens is they may collect a card, or they might get this and stuff like that, and they're just looking for an immediate sale, right? If you actually layer in email marketing for somebody, for guys like that, and you follow a process. So what we tell people is 4 days after the trade show, send out an email to say thank you for coming by the booth, here's some special offers that we have. 2 weeks later, you say, hey, we're glad that you came by the booth, we're continuing these special offers, or whatever this is. 30 days later, hey, thanks for coming by the booth. That was 30 days ago. We look forward to talking to you in the future. And then every 30 days, send them a piece of information. What happens is you will actually increase the response rates from people that came by that booth by up to 61 times greater than if they had just taken those cards and started calling these people. So if you show someone how to generate way more business, and this is easy, I'm giving you guys this is a gimme on this one. It's so simple to do. If they're going to buy something from your competitor and you got the same type of product, and you come at them and say, hey, I'm going to show you how to make potentially up to 61 times more money off each person that was at this trade show that you're going to do, who are they going to go with, this guy or this guy? I think they're going to go with this guy. You become a true partner with them. And it's just, that's the sort of things you need to be looking at. And email marketing it's so simple. Now watch, everyone's going to run out afterwards and start hitting everyone and going after email marketing and try to do it. So I'd be the first one out the gate and start doing it if I was anyone in this room here. So this is one, Google local listing. I'm going to show you guys this. So this is the important part, is I put this towards the end so that you guys can see this. As I keep saying, this is Google's next big thing. It's Google Plus, and in the world of businesses, it's Google local listing, or it's Google Plus local, or whatever they want to call it. They've changed the name a couple of times. You can get found online through this, and I wouldn't be surprised. Go check to see if your businesses are actually listed on Google Plus. And how you do this is type your name. So type in the name of your company, or type in what you play into, which would be promotional products, Calgary, Edmonton, whatever. The results will come up in a map. Click that map, and it brings up all the results, and you'll see who's actually showing up on the map. Just keep clicking through to see if you're actually on there or not. If you're not, you'll be able to find your, yeah?
Oh, so if you're not, you can figure out how to get on there?
Yes, you can. A lot of detail to get into it right now, but you can actually figure out how to get on there as well. You can look up your company name and see if it's on there. There's lots of ways to actually do that thing. The whole idea behind it is, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. No one knows about this, but Google's putting so much time and effort and money behind this, is that it is kind of their next big thing. It allows you to drive sales results or sales leads coming to your website from people that want to have what you guys offer as well. And the interesting thing about it is you can get found in multiple categories across Google, so it drives more and more and more. Once you claim your listing, though, my first piece of advice is get some happy clients to start giving you testimonials to put up on the site. So you take your Google Places or your Google local listing, you copy the URL, you send it to them and say, hey, can you write a review for us, please? They'll have to sign up for a Google account. If they already have a Google account, which like 90% of the population does, they can just jump on and start writing results. See this little red box down here? That's that Zagat thing I was talking to a little earlier. The Zagat score is out of 30. 15 out of 30 is not a good score, right? But the minute you hit 10 results, or 10 testimonials, this box all of a sudden pops up on your listing and it shows up in the results. Google hasn't said this yet, but I'm betting that it actually is true, is that the person who starts getting the results will start showing up into the top results. And not a lot of your competitors are actually doing this, and nor will they do it. They're lazy, right? So you guys have an excellent opportunity to do this. It's free. Right? So you optimize the information that's on your page with keywords specific to what you want to get found on. I went through and looked, and I could only find 2 of these companies that actually claimed their local listing, which means 5 out of the 7 haven't done it. So you can beat those guys. You can even beat the guys that have claimed it, right? But I'll give you an example. That's the top listing. That's not a local listing. That's not a local listing, but the local listings start here. This gets clicked about 54% of the time. This one will get, I think it's 30% of the time. And then these ones kind of get clicked about 15% of the time. But this is just free traffic coming back to your website. So all you got to do is just go claim your listing and get it in there. Do a little research. Once again, Kirsten and I will probably have an event sometime in the future, and we'll show you guys how to do this sort of stuff. So if you want to be alerted to that, we can actually send you guys an invitation to it as well. But I'll tell you what, it's the future. If I were coming out of this meeting, a couple things. First of all, get your Google Plus listing, get your Twitter account set up, do some email, set up an email marketing account. Those are kind of the 3 that I would head out the door with this sort of stuff. So I'm going to tell you how I got into #1 books. I just set up a blog. I'm restless, as I tell you. I got ADD, so I set up a blog, started writing. I wrote some content, and then I used Hootsuite, and I blasted it out. And that's how Jeffrey Gittimer found me. I kind of took a post. I write a post every single day, and I just took that post and I kind of reworded some information and sent it out. I sent it out usually 4 to 6 times a day, and he found it that way. And that's how he ended up contacting me. I ended up in a book. I was really hurt, though, because what happened was he told me to give a picture, and I was supposed to show up on the front cover here. And I got this nice picture. Kirsten photoshopped it so I looked awesome, right? And then what happens is they never used my picture on the book, so I was quite upset. But c'est la vie, it doesn't matter. I'm in the book, and I was quite happy about that. So I'm going to give you guys a secret to getting found online. It's really simple. Anyone can do this. Set up a blog. Start writing information. And you got check with your companies first to make sure that they'll actually allow this sort of stuff, because some companies don't actually allow this. But if you set up your own blog, just start a blog. Take some pictures, take some video, write some information, throw it up. Try to do it once or twice a week. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. You can actually use a service called OnlyWire that you can hook up your Google Plus, your Facebook, your Twitter, all these different accounts. And once you put something up on your website, it'll take it and just blast it out. So it'll distribute it for you as well. And then use Hootsuite to engage if anyone starts talking to you. That's my secret. That's what I do every day. And it's simple, and it drives tons of traffic to my website. As I say, it's got a website in the top 0.1% of the world. And that's my secret to getting people to engage with me. And it delivers a lot of sales leads for me as well. So did I accomplish everything? So did I give you guys a lot of different social media tools? Probably, I think so. Yeah. Did I tell you the one social media tool that drives 82% of the sales leads? Quick, anyone? Hey, good. So someone listen. I showed you how to tie the numerous social medias tools together. Use a blog, use Hootsuite. Those are the sort of things that you want to do. Creating a platform for your sales leads, that is actually just creating a blog. Blogs, I'll give you a clue on blogs. Google likes fresh content. If you have a website that has something that's not changing on a regular basis, and your competitors have something that's changing on a regular basis, they will go to this site and put the results up far greater than yours that just sits there and doesn't do anything. So, and it doesn't take much. It takes 15 minutes a week to write just one post. It's really not that bad. Or you know what you do? You can be like lazy, like me. Take a picture of something and write an article, or just write about it. Don't copy it from somewhere on the web, because Google will penalize you. But you just take a picture of a mug in Sherwood Park or something like that, right? And say, we're the mug people from Sherwood Park. That sounds bad, actually. It sounds like you're mugging someone. But anyways, neither here nor there. But you'll get found. You'll start getting found online. Did I show you how to take the cold out of cold calling? Hopefully I did. Live chat, a bunch of other things that you can use when you start searching and looking through Twitter as well. I obviously showed you the 5 must-haves that you have to have for your website. So did I accomplish everything, I think? Yes? No? You guys drinking from fire hose? Getting tired? I can talk forever. You guys want to stay till tomorrow? I'm totally cool doing this. I could go through a whole bunch of other stuff. This video will be available on my site, salestipaday.com/PPPC-video, probably in the next couple of days. That's the only thing I ask you to write down, because unless you give me your card and I'll send it to you as well. But it'll be up in the next couple of days. It's going to take about 48 hours for us to render this so that we can put it up online. Rendering is just taking the video so it can be seen online. I want to thank, first of all of you for coming and having lunch and sharing at least an hour and a half and let me just yap with you. I want to thank the PPPC for asking me to speak as well. And we still have a few minutes, and I'll tell you why. So we got like 8 minutes. I'm going to show you guys how I got $11,000 worth of free advertising. But we're going to stop for a sec. Any questions? Anyone have a question? No, apparently I've done my job. Yes?
So if you're going on different platforms, is it okay to kind of have the same content across all?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do it. Because what happens is each of these platforms have different people on them, right? They may not all be on the same one. So yeah, I primarily post out to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and there's a slew of some of the other ones that are out there. What I'm finding with a lot of the social media sites that are out there, they're getting gobbled up by other companies, and they're either being shut down or amalgamated into things. One other one, actually, I didn't mention, Tumblr. Tumblr is actually a good one. It's a small little micro-blogging site like Twitter, and it's got a lot of oomph. It's actually broken, I think it's broken into the top 10 sites in the world. So it's a nifty little one, and if you use it properly, it's a great way to do things. I'll tell you how. I'll give you a secret on one of the things that I do too. So every morning when I wake up and I use Hootsuite and I engage, I actually use Shareaholic, and Shareaholic is a little plugin you can put on your website, or you can put into your browser or your website, and it has all your little social media tools in there, or platforms that you're on. And if you put something up new, all you do is you just click on the little icons that are in Shareaholic, because it comes up over your screen, and you just click on it, and it allows you to just distribute your information one by one. I send it out to about 10 different places, and it takes me 3 to 5 minutes to do it, and it does spread it out. But back to your original question, can you take the same information and spread it right across all the platforms? Absolutely. And I actually recommend that because of the fact that it's less time consuming to do it that way. Look into OnlyWire. It costs about $13 a month, but it's the same thing. It just takes what they call an RSS feed, or a real simple syndication feed off your website. So anytime you put something up on your website, this RSS feed says, hey, something's new here. It'll come take a look for it and just go boom and shoot it out to the world. And it's automated, right? It's almost no time. Any questions online, Kirsten?
No, we're good.
Excellent. I must have answered everyone's question. Okay, yes. Oh, I'm going to pull this back then.
That's fine. Is there certain businesses that find more generation than others, or is it all, I mean, it's dependent on what you post, tweet, whatever, but are there certain businesses that right now seem to really, like you're dealing with the energy sector and with something, do you guys find that, or is there any research on that?
Yeah, there probably is research, and the interesting thing about research is you can spend forever trying to figure it out, right? I'll tell you my own personal belief is, so my background is all technology, literally from the last 20 years or so. It was almost all technology. So when I first started doing stuff on my own, I was hitting specifically technology companies. But one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I'm working with a whole bunch of home renovators and contractors and guys that do stuff on homes. And I mean, I'm not going kicking and screaming or anything like that, right? Saying, I don't want to work with you guys. I just follow the opportunities. And I found these guys are really starting to jump on it because they see the need. But I think, what you'll find, if I get the question right, is there certain pockets of industries that are actually doing things better? Absolutely, right? So I used to run the oil and gas practice for IBM, and I remember it was about 7 years ago when I was there, and they started talking about engaging with live chat, chat between people in the organization, and really starting to embrace all this stuff. And honestly, I didn't get it when I first saw it. Like, I remember the first time I saw Twitter, I don't get it, right? But now I totally get it. I understand it, right? What happens is you're going to find more and more as time goes on, more and more industries are going to glom onto it. Is there some where it works well, better than others? Absolutely. Energy services really, it's not an industry where a lot of the guys have picked up on the social media from what I've seen. But like I say, the housing industry, for somehow or other, these guys are all over it now. They're creating videos left, right, and center. They're blogging. They're doing a whole bunch of different things, right? So yeah, you just have to look for it and you'll see it. You'll actually see it once you start diving into it. You'll see the different industries that are actually picking it up a lot better. Here's a tip though, what I would do, so you could focus on the ones that aren't doing it. And you could kind of be the big fish in a small pond, right? And you could be known as the person who does that, as opposed to one of many that do it in a different industry, right?
We're really worried about the energy group not picking up on social media that much. And I have my own theory on it. I think part of it is that up until very recently, the top people in the oil companies and the energy sectors were in my generation, and we aren't tech savvy.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big things. Another 5 years, that's going to be gone.
Yeah, yeah. It's and you are 26, so I'm just throwing that out there, right? The question was, yes, Kirsten?
Well, I should elaborate on that. Is that the one common denominator that everyone, regardless of age, is experiencing, and that is they're no longer looking at the yellow pages. They're looking at Google. So at the end of the day, your footprint on the internet will influence how you get found on Google. So it doesn't matter what age you're directing it to. If you can focus on a strategy and consistency to be the authority in your niche, you'll populate that search and you'll get the business. That's what it really comes down to. And social media is just a syndication tool. Like Chris said at the beginning, it's a tool, right? Yeah, so that's how I look at it.
Is there any way, with all the new Facebook rules for pages and that, is there any way to boost that visibility? Because it's dropped. It used to be, if you liked a page, it was 100%. Now I know some companies are down to about 20% of the people that have liked them are following them. Are there any tips on how to keep that number up?
So the question was, if I could paraphrase it somewhat, is there any kind of rhyme or reason to how Facebook does things and getting it kind of found or getting people following you? Is that kind of where you're going?
If you have a page,
yep.
Facebook now has a new little tab that has your page views, and they don't all show up in your personal feed.
Yes, yes.
So is there any tips as to how to make sure that's going to end up in that personal feed?
Yeah. Go to Google Plus and drop Facebook, right? I'm being dead serious, because we interviewed a guy called Guy Kawasaki. I don't know if anyone knows who Guy Kawasaki is. And truthfully, I just don't understand Facebook. They change the rules so quickly and so much that you kind of go, like, what are you doing? And I'll give you an example. Is on Google Plus, if you circle somebody and they have it so that they can see your results, you show up in the results and you show up in their feed. Facebook arbitrarily actually chooses who they'll let see your information, so they're actually censoring you, to tell you the truth. And that's why I say it's like no one can wrap their head around what they're actually doing, because they change all the stuff so quickly and so much, but they don't let anyone know kind of what they're doing. So, I may tell you one thing today, tomorrow it'll be absolutely obsolete. That's truthfully why the one thing that I really truly enjoy about Google Plus is that they're not going to muck with that. If I send something out and people choose to follow me, they're going to see exactly what it is and what it is. So, I'm sorry, it's kind of a roundabout question and I can't give you any specifics on it. Same thing, I don't use Facebook that much, and long story short, I don't like it, to tell you the truth. I don't like Facebook. It doesn't speak to me.
For many people, it's an escape tool. So it's not really an appropriate platform for a lot of businesses. That said, if you have an emotional product that drives people immediately to react to what you have in your feed, you're going to get a lot of attention. and then that attention will spread. So I'm not saying dismiss it, but you can't blatantly sell.
Okay, I got 1 minute to show you guys how to get $11,000 plus out of this. Okay, ready? It's actually, we're right on time here, so I'm going to say, you want to see how I got over $11,000 in free advertising? What does everyone say?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes! More enthusiastically. Come on, guys.
Yes!
Yay! Okay. So I have a house in Calgary, 83 Discovery Ridge Boulevard, Southwest. If anyone wants to make an offer on it, I'm more than happy to sell it to you. I tried to sell this house for the longest time, and blah, 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 long story short, it didn't sell. We're actually renting it now. But when I did it, I felt my realtor wasn't doing a good enough job actually promoting it. So what did I do? I created a PowerPoint presentation on this, and you can actually go find it online. It's on SlideShare, it's on Scribed, which is another source of sharing information. I actually, by the way, I took this, and when I put on SlideShare and Scribed, I use a tool called Social Oomph, which allows me to actually schedule tweets out all the time. And I scheduled like 2 tweets a day, just basically going on this thing. In this case, on SlideShare, I got 4,215 views on this. On Scribed, which also allows me to put this presentation up, I got 3,174 views on this. Then what I did was I took this PowerPoint presentation and, oh, by the way, I'm leveraging their network to get my information out. That's the key point there. Then what I did is I took that PowerPoint presentation, I recorded it, posted it up on YouTube. I got 256 views. So, interesting thing on the math on this. If you look Calgary house for sale on Google, if I put that up on Google and put text ads behind this, it's going to cost me roughly $1.50 for every click that someone does to go look at that. So for 7,645 clicks that I got, that's 11,000 and change in free advertising that I got. Now I'm gonna wrap this in a couple of seconds and explain something to you on this one. So it took me less than an hour to do this. In fact, it took me all of about 25 minutes to pull that thing together and get this stuff up online. So if you guys could get $11,000 plus in free advertising, would you do it? Yes? Yes. Okay. Here's the sweet part about this, is that with that, think of it this way. How many products do you guys have in your arsenal? Bingo, right? So what you could do, just grab pictures, make presentations, slap it up on SlideShare, make sure you use the proper terms in there. So how I got found was I was using Calgary House for Sale and all that stuff, and that's how people found it, and I just tweeted it out every once in a while. I automated those tweets, by the way. Social Oomph, great tool. Take a look at it. Social and Oomph, O-O-M-P-H, made by a Canadian company. Awesome. Same with Hootsuite, Canadian company. And think of it this way. Let's use golf apparel. Make a presentation for golf apparel. There's one, right? Throw something else out. What else can we throw out? Mugs, thermoses, foldable water bottles, whatever, any products that you have. Make these things, slap them up online. But when you have it up online and you have a presentation, here's the kicker. Here's what you really want to do. Have links through to your website where they can find these things, or contact information, and put your email address on it too so people can connect with you. Because when they go up on these sites, they're hyperlinked through, and you can actually, people click on it and contact you and go directly to you on this sort of stuff. Think about how many presentations. If you do 10 presentations, that's over $100,000 of free advertising that you guys could be getting if you do something like that. Do 100 presentations, right? Over $1 million worth of free advertising. Someone's going to find you somewhere. And 100 presentations may take you 50 hours, 100 hours to do. But I guarantee you'll get sales leads out of it. Unfortunately, I didn't sell my house, so it's not the greatest example in the world, but it did generate a lot.
You rented it.
I ended up renting it, and I'm pretty happy about that.
And that was somebody who found you, right?
Yep. Yeah, so that's how they found us. So there you go. I mean, I would highly recommend that. Works very well. And it's a great way for you guys to get found online, get free sales leads. So that's that. Once again, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your time. And hopefully it made sense to you. Everyone enjoy that?
Absolutely great. Super.
Good. Thank you.
I just want to thank you on behalf of the PPPC. I hope
Thanks,
that
Scott.
was a great tool for everybody to take home and apply to their businesses. Take some time before you leave today. You have an evaluation reporting form on your desk. This session was worth 1.5 CES points, and just hand back to me when you're done. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks again, Chris, and Kirsten, of course. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.